G'day guys, this is going to be a short video on how to do a reset for the immune system. So a lot of people, have been asking me, well, Harry, what's the deal with actually resetting the immune system and all that? Now, there are a number of medications out there which we cannot access. Some possibly like ivermectin and other things like that. But unfortunately, a lot of the medication that sort of clear out a lot of the, you could say, foreign proteins and the spikes and, all these sort of allow a bit of a reset. But ultimately, a species appropriate diet is the way to go if you really want to have a strong, robust immune system. But we can also sort of do an accelerated reset. And the way that I've sort of recommended to people, because people keep on asking me, so this is why I'm doing the video, so we can quite clear the sort of, this applies for both spike, over-replication, sensitization, and damage to, and senescence, causing a certain level of aging and senescence to the immune system. COVID does the same thing. In that regard, and that's one characteristic of it, which is slightly different to a whole lot of other types of viruses. The other thing is within the actual endoplasmic reticulum, the rough part where there's a lot of ribosomes, where there's sort of transcription, there can be sort of a lot of misfolding of proteins that can actually be caused in that area because of the hijacking of some of these systems by the virus in this low grade. When you've got a lot of damage, the older you are, obviously you're going to have less naive T cells, more cytokine T cells, which are problematic overreaction over, the sort of risk. If you're constantly basically damaging the immune system by getting exposed, whether to mRNA or to the vaccine, in my personal opinion, this is what some of the literature is showing. The way to do a reset, again, in my personal opinion, this is not medical advice, is to basically do a proper reset of the immune system. That requires to be on a species appropriate diet in a low carbohydrate state, which makes it easy to do a 3-day fast, 72 hours minimum, which will basically, and no vitamin D and no, in particular, taurine. And the reason for we don't want to actually be adding taurine is because if certain cells are slightly damaged, what it will try to do, the taurine will try to basically reduce senescence, and so we'll still keep them in the loop. We want to basically clear the whole lot out. So we want to basically apply a certain level of pressure to clear out. Then on, 3+ days, I would probably do 3 days and 8 hours to be in that nice little zone. Right after that, then I would basically do 50,000 IUs of vitamin D for 3 days. If you're carrying a bit of weight, 100,000, and then drop down for the remainder of the week to 50,000 if you're overweight, and 20,000 if you're not. That's for the remainder of the week. And then back down to basically 10 or 20 if you're overweight, and that all out to about a month. What we want to do is basically increase our free 25-OHD, and we want to basically push our vitamin D status up in order to actually initiate a lot of stem cell activation in the bone marrow to rebuild new naive T lymphocytes. We want to activate them with taurine. So somebody who's sort of average, sort of smaller weight and all that, 4 grams. Somebody who's in that middle range, 70, 80 kilos, you're looking at about 6 grams. And somebody who's quite large, like somebody like Sean Baker, over 6 foot, quite large in that regard, up to 8 grams. And that should be done for a fortnight, so 2 weeks. and then drop down to half that amount for the remainder of the month. Because one thing about it'll actually protect that new immune system that will be rebuilt, but also it'll actually activate within the thymus to basically allow for those naive T lymphocytes to basically, be produced in more numerous amounts. Heading up to something like that, I would do the similar dosages, not the vitamin D, but the similar dosages, those higher dosages, at least 2 weeks heading into it, of taurine. And then I'd cut it a couple of days, about 2 days before the fast. So that's 5 days all together with the 3 days of fasting, no taurine. And basically the vitamin D can actually be done right up to just before the fast. I don't have a problem with that. And then that's a sort of procedure to rebuild a new, more robust, and at the same time, that's going to go after any foreign proteins, any sort of residual stuff, and clear it out. Obviously, we want to keep the taurine up for that sort of period of time, because we want not only to support the naive T lymphocytes, but also to protect them from damage. Because when they're actually dealing with clearing up foreign viral particles or overexpressed spikes, they do cause some damage to the immune cells. So we want to basically keep them in good nick in that regard. So that's my reset protocol. I would love to have included some of the medications that are in the actual protocol, but it's very hard to basically get them. Most doctors are too afraid to basically issue them. So this is the only real way of getting around, sort of supporting the immune system by really doing a restoration, a rebuild and all that. And through this whole period, I would be basically also right after, in the rebuild phase, I would really up my protein levels, fat levels, the same amount that you usually do within your diet, 1:1 ratio. But in this case, keep the fat levels up to the same level as you did before, but really ramp up the protein intake. And the reason for that is because we really want to provide additional precursors to build. And some of the amino acids play an important immunomodulating role and actually support in rebuilding the actual immune system. So you need to go a bit more protein heavy in those days post the reset, post the 3-day fast, so to speak. That's pretty much it. I don't really have any other, things to add to that. That's the best you can do in order to basically improve your immune status in order to deal with long COVID symptoms or long mRNA type spike sensitization issues. That's pretty much it. So this video is to basically, if you've got a question of that sort, check this video out and apply the protocol. That's it. Anyway, see yous.